like every female Def Leppard. And so she goes to the show and she's excited to see Stinks and everything. And I said to Vin, I said, hey, I'd love to hear a Last in Line song. And he said, oh yeah, come on the bus, I'll play you one. We sat there for an hour and a half and dissected the record while my wife sat there like, missing Stinks, you know. So I think the only reason why we stopped talking and listening was because he had to go on with Def Leppard at that point. But it's a phenomenal record, and I can't recommend it highly enough, coming out February 19th. I want to ask you guys something about Jimmy, because you guys were, obviously, Viv and Vinny have this biggest history with Jimmy because of their time in the Dio band. And you were, I think, Viv, you were telling me that probably the most famous Dio song and the biggest hit, Rainbow in the Dark, and one of the most signature moments in that song, the big hook, the keyboard part, that's something that, there's a story to that Jimmy actually came up with, right?
Yeah, well, we were back in Sound City at the rehearsal room, and the record was almost written. That was one of the latest songs, I think, that we had done, was Rainbow in the Dark. And we recorded everything on a little 4-track Fostex. So we recorded the track and we were listening back to it. And in the corner of the rehearsal room, we had a Yamaha DX7, which I'm not feeling it. That was the quintessential 80s keyboard. Everyone had one, all the kids had it. So it was set up there, and Jimmy, while I was playing back, Jimmy had his customary solo cup with Jimmy Bain and Coca-Cola. He had his customary Marlboro Red. So he had his Irish handcuffs going. He didn't have any free hands. And so, you know, the track's playing, and Jimmy just, you know, he's probably stoned, I don't know. But he walks up to the keyboard and he puts the Marlboro in the mouth, and he goes, and Ronnie goes, yes! Yeah. And no disrespect to Eric Norlander or any other keyboard player in the building, but a keyboard player would have done this. He would have put the drink down and the cigarette down, and he would have gone, you know, and the hook might not have been the same. It would have been, yeah, okay, that's impressive, but it's not immediate, you know. So thank you, man, for holding my Jim Beam and Cook. So. Yeah, that's where Jimmy came up with it. He actually played it on the record too, because I mean it was pretty fucking easy, right? And I think he did it one-handed.
Yeah. Magic created by the Irish handcuffs. And yeah, go ahead, Andy. I want to get you involved here because you obviously don't have the same history with. You didn't have the same history with Jimmy, you know, from the Dio stuff, but obviously you have history with them in the creation of this record.
Yeah.
So talk about did you first meet and get to know Jimmy when Last in Line came together?
No, I met Jimmy, Vinny and I were in Lynchmont together about, 10 years ago? For like a hot minute. And
that's where I met Andy the first time.
And we got off the road, and Vinny and Jimmy had a little all-star cover band called Hollywood All-Stars. And their singer was not available or sick or something. And so he asked me if I could do a show. I think it was in Riverside, California. And so we show up there, and I don't think I met him. I think we didn't rehearse. I think we went.
Yeah.
The first time I remember meeting him was at this gig, and we were, you know, like, this is great. It was you and Carlos Carvazo and I don't remember, Jimmy and somebody else. And so, you know, I'm like, oh my God, I'm playing with these guys. This is awesome. And kind of like last night. And he set time. Well, it was about 20 minutes before set time. No Jimmy, you know. And, I got you know, schooled very early on the world of Jimmy Bain, and he, you know, 10 minutes before he's not there. Fuck, where is he? You know, 5 minutes. Showtime, still not there. 10 minutes into the set time, he just comes strolling through the door. Short sleeve, I'll never forget the short sleeve Hawaiian shirt. And he had, you know, he was very healthy at the time because his belly was out to here. And he definitely had been eating a lot. So his belly was out to here. He had this little crappy little Steinberger type bass, you know, just with no headstock and a tiny little thing. And he just walks up and plugs in, and he's just like, let's do it. plugs in, and he just killed he didn't miss a note, you know, and you would expect like a guy like that to walk in and be a mess, you know, but he wasn't. He came in and he pretty much ran the room, you know, ran the band, you know.
Jimmy could plug into a refrigerator. And
Yeah, it sounds great. Yeah.
I swear to God.
I'm telling you, this little bass is just, it looks terrible. He played at rehearsal too before we left because all the stuff is on here. It's just, it sounds great. He sounds great, so.
Yeah.
Should we have a look at another song, you
Sure.
think?
Yeah.
Well,
Viv,
let me just tell you about this song. This is the Heavy Crown album. We wrote and recorded 10 songs for it. And then our manager called us up and said, guys, you didn't read the contract. We actually need 12. So this is after the record. We thought it was done. And we had to write and record a couple of songs more in a hurry. And the last two songs we wrote were Blame It On Me and Star Maker. We're going to play You Blame It On Me. And it was the last thing that Jimmy wrote. It was Jimmy's riff.
This has not been out yet.
It has not been out yet. And Andy could tell you a bit about the song, because I don't listen to the lyrics. They're just in the way of the fucking guitar solo. And hurry up, come on. Look at this solo. But and while we're talking about that, I think Andrew here did a fucking fantastic job on the lyrics. Not just a great singer, but a fantastic lyricist, and he did Jimmy's riff proud with this one.
You know, one thing I wanted to mention about Jim before we start this is that, you know, he has this big history and, you know, being around rock and roll for years and playing with all these great bands, and he really loved this band, you know.
He did.
Oh, yeah.
And he doesn't have any, you know, I don't know if he had any tattoos, but he got one tattoo on his arm, and it was our logo, you know. And I would think that, you know, he would have like a rainbow tattoo or a Dio tattoo or something, you know, huge. But
Yeah, he got that.
he showed up at rehearsal one day like, "Are you crazy, dude? What are you doing to yourself?
Yeah,
This thing is going to be done in 3 months. What are you doing?"
No, it was the only tattoo he ever had, and I remember when he first got it, it looked like it said "last in line."
Yeah.
Jimmy, you sure you got that right?
I think it was a prison tattoo, but you know, good on him.
Anyway, so it's Jimmy Bain's last ever riff that he wrote.
Yeah.
It's called "Blame It On Me." Joe, you want to give it a spin?